We'll start with roll call.
Okay, Mayor Manning,
Here.
Brenneman,
Here.
Keel,
Here.
Nelson,
Here.
Jones,
Here.
and Monahan is absent with notice.
Do we have any additions or motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Do we have a motion to approve minutes from 8/7/2019?
So moved.
Second. Second, there we go. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, bills submitted for payment.
Move to approve bills submitted.
Second.
Alright, discussion. Not, we'll vote. Anything you got in your notes?
Nope, I didn't make any notes on it, so I think okay.
Okay, alright, we'll vote. Jones?
Yes.
Brennan?
Yeah.
Keel?
Yes.
And Nelson?
Yes.
Alright. And we'll move up to oath of office for our new council member, Brittany Lander.
Just in the nick of time.
Right? Could've used you about 15 minutes ago.
Right? Sorry, Travis.
So,
Yeah,
right over here somewhere.
right here? Okay.
Yep, yep.
All
Want
right.
to raise your right hand
Okay.
and say that
All right, I, Brittany Lanzer, having been appointed to the office of councilperson Ward 2 within and for the city of town of Hartford, in said county and state, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the state of South Dakota, and the ordinances of the said city and town of Hartford, and that I will faithfully and impartially, to the best of my knowledge and ability, perform all the duties of my said office of council ward person 2.
Alright, congratulations.
Thank you.
Hop on up.
If you dare. Travis bites.
Won't be long, you can move into words.
Okay.
About 9 months.
9 months? Okay.
About 9 months.
All right. Okay.
Alright, so the next item up is public comments. So this is a chance where we can speak on public items that are non-agenda items, don't take action necessarily on the item, but input from council. So make sure you state your name and address for the record.
Okay, my name is Catherine Sinkel, and my address is 200 East 3rd Street here in Hartford, and this is Jennifer Bonner. Where do you live? Oh,
400 Jennifer Drive.
Okay. And the reason why we are here is change for chickens. Hartford has a city ordinance that you cannot have any kind of livestock, and they're considering chickens as livestock, and we would like to change that ordinance to allow for chickens only. I want to emphasize that our request is only for chickens. No other animals should be on this. This is change for chickens only. And some of the reasons why we feel that Hartford would benefit from it is, first of all, chickens are very intelligent, wonderful, smart creatures, and they have so much to offer to everyone. The children especially, they teach about, let's see, well, the first and foremost thing that chicken can give us is eggs. Fresh eggs are wonderful. We get better nutrition for our children. It's cruelty-free when families have their chickens rather than them be caged and tortured, and that is what's happening. If you buy eggs at the grocery store, they're not cruelty-free. The educational value, so much can be learned from raising chickens for everyone. It's not just the children. And of course, we have free fertilizer, pest control. Chickens eat anything. And chickens are actually being used as therapy animals now because they make such great pets, and they have all kinds of things to offer, pure wholesome entertainment. And the social aspect, there is an entire community that are dedicated to raising backyard chickens. And we would like to see Hartford be a part of that. And, you know, as for, you know, chickens can cause issues, and there can be some concerns, and I really think that those really should be dealt with on a one-to-one basis rather than an entire across-the-board city ordinance that we can't have. Just like any other rule and regulations and ordinance, if you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, then it needs to be dealt with on a one-to-one basis. And just changing the law and the rules across the board because you don't want to deal with it is very unfair to me and to the other residents of Hartford that want chickens in their backyard. So I just really want to emphasize that chickens really are a great thing. And I would like to put change for chickens on the agenda for the next council meeting. And my cohort here, I guess, is going to talk about the regulations and rules that should be included in this, so.
Yeah, so we did a little bit of research of like surrounding communities and kind of what their regulations are and things like that. We're pretty much the only community surrounding here that is not allowed to have backyard chickens. So, I mean, we obviously don't wanna just say, just go ahead and have chickens and that's it, but, so we, kind of some of the regulations we wrote out were, to have a maximum of 4 chickens and hens only, no roosters. They must be contained and maintained properly, you know, they need to have an enclosed structure to be in, they can't just be running free, and whatever they're in needs to be maintained, they need to be, you know, fed, water, all that stuff, kept clean. Everything needs to be, you know, if something's broken, it needs to be repaired in a timely manner. The property owner is responsible for all the costs regarding the chickens. And then also, if people aren't following that, then maybe you could look at doing some kind of a fine for those people that aren't within the regulations that are set within the city ordinance for that. And I know there are some other surrounding towns that do like a one-time $5 fee, like to have a chicken permit or something, and it's just a one-time thing when you get chickens, you know. Yeah. Yep.
Do you have, I'm just kind of curious on that too, if you got the data on that, on which area communities have that?
So I checked, so Sioux Falls, you can have chickens there. You don't have to have a permit unless you want more than 6. Their limit there is 6 and no roosters. Del Rapids, I believe, is $75 or $25, I think. Yeah. And it's a one-time fee, and they can 6 chickens for there as well, no roosters. Humboldt, they have a limit of 6 chickens, no roosters, and there's no kind of fee there. Yeah. Del Rapids does have a really good ordinance written up on their page. If you needed one to follow, it's quite lengthy, but it pretty much covers any kind of issues that could come up and things like that, and it does specify chickens, not just anything.
Excellent. Thank you, and hopefully we can get that on the agenda for the next time.
I was gonna quick check, and we might have some more questions.
Yeah,
too.
when did we write that ordinance?
I was just looking, 2014.
Yeah, I
is
was
when
saying
the change.
2014, yeah.
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 What was it,
From what
was
we
it much
heard,
looser than that before? Do you remember what that
So-
ordinance was like before that?
The way the ordinance was before is that if you wanted livestock within the city, and that was considered livestock, you could come to the city council and get a special permit for it. I mean, it wasn't, yes, you can have them, or no, you can't have them. It is, you need to come to the city council and get a permit for it. And if the council approved the permit, then, you know, you can have any animal. We had some issues, back in 2014, and that's when, the city council reviewed the ordinance, and it was changed to just allow no livestock, which included chickens now, any kind of fowl, basically.
I'm sorry, 400 Jennifer Drive, right?
Yep.
Okay, so I know where you live, and you know, and I'll just if nothing else, because this will be on the agenda for the next meeting.
Okay,
And I was here when that ordinance was passed. And so my advice to you would be to make sure that you keep in consideration all of the other residents who don't have as open an area as you do, okay? And the criteria that come into play with neighbors, because that's what caused the issue the last time, okay?
yep, and I know like that Del Rapids one has like 25 feet within anybody's property and stuff like that, so that you're not, I mean, you don't want chickens, obviously, right next to someone's house, if they don't want chickens, so.
Yeah, so break that down very well, and yeah, that's all I wanted to add to that you have a valid point. Just don't bring any goats in, because Mr. Monahan on the other side of the table, when he's here, will tell the goat story, and you'll be bored to death, but, and that's on tape, and hopefully he'll hear that, but, anyway, it's, yeah, I understand where you're coming from. It is kind of a somewhat all-inclusive type scenario.
Yeah,
Before we hop off, Nelson, are you saying as that council person, you would like to see it on the agenda, sponsoring it, so to say?
I would.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you need a motion for that,
I need concurrence of 2 council people to put it on the agenda.
I have the first.
I have a question.
sure.
Are you requesting chickens out of necessity? So you're saying, my question is, you're saying we would need chickens because you utilize that much fowl? You
Yes.
eat that many eggs?
I have 3 kids, so there's a total of 5 of us in
Okay,
our house.
all right.
My kids also are very excited about doing this and helping out with it, so I think it'd be good for them too. They're 13, 11, and 7, so just teaching them responsibility. And yes, you can just go outside and you can get your own eggs. That's not something you need to go to the store then and buy. I think chickens lay an egg once every 23 hours or something like that. So I mean, that's roughly 4 chickens, 4 eggs a day. I think that's a pretty decent amount for a family of 5. So,
Right.
yeah, not just for the fun of it, just to have chickens, but,
You're
because
not
I know they're a lot of
doing
work.
this- you're not doing this is an economic advantage to you.
Yes, it is,
Some-
yes, for
Well,
sure.
something you're gonna consume.
Correct, yes.
And I will advise the council that if this is passed, and I'm just being to the point, past history, that if we do pass this, there will be more. I mean, that's a given. I mean, Teresa probably might reinforce that, but once we did pass the, prior to 2014 ordinance and that issue thereof, there were at least 2 that came in front of us asking the same thing. So that's why I wanted to make sure that the stipulations were very specific, footage, so on and so forth,
Sure.
and infringement on your adjacent property owners. Okay?
Do we have any other council members that want to see that on the agenda? Mr. Nelson?
Serve eggs in Italy? I think they do.
All right. What I would encourage you to do then, at that point, is that doesn't mean, right now, we don't have 2 council people asking that on the agenda. We need 2 to have it on the agenda. But you still are able to reach out to anybody, show your data, talk to anybody at the table, and it can be added to the agenda at any time, as long as 2 council people want to have that added to the agenda at that time.
How about you, Brittany? How do you feel about backyard chickens?
I'm usual at this time.
Welcome to the show.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Yes,
you.
Thank you. Could you also make sure, if we don't have it already, that Teresa and Karen have your contact information? Because maybe you've already been in touch, so we can get in touch with you if we need to.
Oh, they know who I am.
They know who you are. Okay, okay.
They took my chickens away from my grandson, and he's devastated. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
right, we're gonna move on to application hearing resolutions. First, we got the special event application for the West Central Junior Achievement Team Day. All right, do we have anybody here to talk on that tonight?
Jesse's name, so what are they doing, Jesse? You shut
She said, you're gonna talk.
Sorry, this quick in the agenda. Jesse Falcon, 2 Parky Drive. I serve on the West Junior Achievement Board, and we have an annual fundraiser that helps bring up most of our revenue in this beanbag tournament. We've rotated around the city. It's been at the Goat. It's been at Route 42 last year. Now bringing it downtown. Hoping to close off Main Street. Looking to really expand the event and make it much bigger, more teams. And talk about bringing food trucks in, with some sort of food option. We want to be able to support both the brewery and the South Bar, and so we're hoping to close down that area to allow the free movement of alcoholic beverages in that area. We would be afraid of having it, let's say, just by the brewery or the South Bar and having folks walking across, which has happened in the past at events that have not had an open access area.
Motion to approve special events for application for West Central Junior Achievement for Beanbag fundraiser on September 27th, was it?
Yep.
September 27th. Did they ask for waive fees?
Yep.
And the fees waived.
Thank you.
Second.
All right, discussion?
I don't see on here, Jess, where you asked us to close the street, or is that a different application?
I believe if you, so I kind of, we scribbled it out because we changed the location, we were going to do it on the south of the brewery on First.
Oh, I see.
Ah,
And we put it on Main, so it's kind of
Buffalo
lower
is
than
discriminating to south.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay, got it, okay.
Anything east or west? Half blocks or?
I would say half blocks would be helpful for the flow traffic, I think, too. And we did contact many of the property owners around to get their feedback and make sure that this would be okay. For the most part, we had positive responses.
Concerns on that? Good. All right, we'll vote. Nelson?
Yes.
Lanzer?
Yes.
Keel?
Yes.
Brennan?
Yeah.
Jones?
Yes.
Thank you. You can sign up online. There's $40 per team, or there's a $400 corporate sponsorship option that includes 6 teams. It'd be 12 people. There's a Facebook event. Both the link with Nelson and Jacob. So, thank you.
Never miss an opportunity.
Good plug.
Never miss an opportunity.
Big for the chickens.
All right. Got resolution 2019-7. And I'll let you give some background on why we're amending the sales tax.
So, with our Vandemark project, the city is proposing to pay for that through, the sale of sales tax bonds, as you know. So we're taking a bond out to pay for Vandemark and 9th Street. Back earlier this year, we passed a resolution basically authorizing the city to sell bonds and to put them out in the market. Our bond council actually did a little research and found out that if we insure our bonds, we can get a better interest rate. And he kind of ran the numbers, and even after paying the insurance with the better interest rate, it can save the city about $90,000 to insure the bonds and get a better interest rate. So I told him we'd like to do that. We could use $90,000. So basically, this amends that first resolution and just has verbiage in there saying that we are going to insure the bond and that, we're going to, implement an insurance agent and so forth and so on. This was drafted by our bond counsel, Terry, so it is normal verbiage and wording for it. So it just allows us to move ahead with buying the insurance and then moving forward with the sale.
Move to approve resolution 2019-7.
Second. Does it need to have insured in it? The
Just approving this
verbiage?
resolution will.
Okay.
Discussion? Jones?
Yes.
Brennan?
Yeah.
Keel?
Yes.
Lanzer? And Nelson.
Yes.
All right, next one is resolution 2019-8, street maintenance resolution. Let me go, just a brief background on this again for the record.
Okay, so last fall, and for your sake, Brittany, the city council discussed implementing a street maintenance fee. And we're allowed to do this under South Dakota codified law. And basically, cities can implement a fee to all property within the city. We can decide how we implement that fee. Some do it by parcel number or lot, most do it by front footage. We did a comparison of surrounding cities. We are one of the very few that don't have a maintenance fee. And funds, if we implement this, funds from this fee can be used for general maintenance, yearly maintenance. So for our sealing of the streets, crack sealing, fixing seats, snow removal. Anything that's maintenance related, it cannot be used for construction of new streets. We can't build a street or rebuild a street, and we can't use it for sidewalks, but any general yearly maintenance, operating maintenance, we can. So at that time, the city council decided to move ahead with implementing $1 per foot along the front footage. So anything that abuts a city maintained street, it'd be $1 per foot of the address side. So if you have a corner lot, you're not gonna get both sides, just the address side. So it's $1 per foot, and then we did set a minimum of $65 per lot, because we do have some on a few cul-de-sacs with very small frontages, just so everyone kind of pays their fair share. This would be implemented yearly. We review it yearly. It goes on the person's tax roll, and they pay it with the tax they get from the county. So this would implement it for this year. We need to get this, pass this and get this to the county by October 1st, and it'll go on for next year's tax.
Motion to approve resolution 2019.8.
Second.
Discussion. You know, the only discussion I'd like to bring to this is, we've got some residents per se, who are property owners of a fourplex person, let's give as an example. Those residents, Karen currently has $65 dispersed equally amongst those 4 residents. As a property owner and as a resident of Hartford, I feel that when you disperse that equally amongst 4 participants, those residents may utilize the streets as much or more than I do. So when we look at the minimum being $65 per resident, those residents are an exception to that case. I mean, we got some residents who pay $16 as an example. The only recommendation I would make is that we somehow word the resolution such that the minimum isn't per address in those applications, but per resident. So a fourplex isn't addressed or assessed at $65, but each property
Each one
owner
gets 65.
in said fourplex or sixplex or eightplex, whatever that might be assessed a minimum of $65, because they can potentially drive on the city streets as much as I do, okay, with that minimum being $65. So that's my only suggestion or observation when I look at this. Is it seems a bit unfair in those applications.
But I don't think they own, right? If it's a fourplex, one person or they own they may have 4 different addresses, but are they actually listed as the homeowner?
They're on the roll book.
On the road.
Makes sense.
So it's a one parcel, 4 property owners, and we've divided that $65 by 4. And my point to that is, I feel that should be $65 per property owner, because my belief is that each of those persons is utilizing the streets as much or more than I am, and the minimum should be $65 per address, per person.
Well, address.
Address, sure.
I was trying to find an example in here and I haven't found one yet.
So
do with an apartment that has 12 or 8?
Though, as an apartment,
Apartments
would
is
be
storage.
individually, an apartment would be, legally,
They usually have
legal
one.
binding, the legal description for an apartment would be
One
Yeah,
person.
one parcel, correct. And
One
and
address.
correct. When you, as a property owner, have partial ownership in a parcel, and it be fourplex, a duplex, a sixplex, you inherently take more ownership in the very street which serves said parcel.
So are you suggesting, do you like it in its current form, or are you suggesting that it be, or that's a change for the future, or a change before it's approved?
My suggestion is that we amend the current form that we have presented here for this resolution. And that we amend that resolution such that somehow worded that a parcel, if it is a fourplex or another multifamily type address, each individual property owner pays a minimum of $65. I don't believe that a parcel should take that $65 and split it evenly amongst 2 or 3 or 4 or 6 applicants, property owners per se.
How hard is that to track, Karen?
For me, on the spreadsheet, I'll just, I just have to go change the footage to 65 to the minimum.
65.
As far as the resolution, I mean,
Make that
that's,
substitute.
Which the resolution just says we're gonna be a dollar per foot, and, all you need to do is change the
Change the-
exhibit.
yeah,
Jinx,
for those situations.
Terry, you gotta come on up.
Terry Hagan. On behalf of Hagan's homeowners, the 2 condo units up at the State House in North Muncie, one's 703, the other one's 705. And I just got aware today and stuff that they're having an issue with some new changes in the tax deal. My property up there's 4 homeowners in each building. There is not property pins on each individual buildings.
You rent those, right?
And when that was set up and stuff as condo units and stuff up there, it was one structure on 703 or 705.
As long as they all have different
People
parcel numbers.
own their own structures. The driveway up there is a common area, the grass areas around the building and stuff, common area and stuff. Just today, I found out that there probably hasn't been any taxes on the land in the common area, because the property owners are paying taxes on their 960 square foot buildings and stuff. So, this just popped up today, and I don't own any of it, they've all been
That's all
sold.
that's sold. Okay.
So, I'm agreeing with him, but I don't know in that situation, or Terry McMahon's situation over on Fifth Street, where he's got 6 units on each side, that $65 is the right number. Because there's 75 foot frontage on my units up there, that's including the driveway and on each building and stuff. I'm assuming with $75, if you split between 4 of them up there, but I think it maybe has, because you're saying they use it just as much as me and you do, that there should be an adjustment there. And I'm sure there's some more buildings we have here in town that people own them. There's Buzz's, Bechtel's buildings, 3 places up on Family Mart. There's some over in the golf course that don't even have a street anymore, they use streets and stuff. So there's another one. So maybe that number has to be adjusted. Yeah, 35, 40, I don't know. I think it's something they have to pay their fair share. It's like the rest of it. Some people are gonna have 120 feet front footage, and they try to maybe have that much, but
185 foot maybe.
maybe, whatever. But I mean, you're not doing it. So I think everybody pay their, like I said before, this thing was in effect 20 years ago, and it all got thrown out, because we tried to raise 50 cents back then, 25 cents. Everything was gravel at that time, we were trying to get the gravel people to pay as much as the rest of us. It all got thrown out. But I think that's right, but I just found out today on my situation up there, they're taxed on their structure, so, because they thought I was paying taxes on the real estate, and I never, since I sold, I haven't paid any taxes. So I gotta find out that information.
Awesome.
Karen, do you know how much, running foot is up there on those ones on Fifth?
Do I know what?
How many running feet is up there on that?
If you took that, is that the
12,
16?
Yeah, there's 12, I think, it looks like.
Yeah, so whatever the 1632 times 12, I took the linear foot and divided it amongst 12 or however many units.
Okay.
So that'd be how many feet there are.
Based on what you've looked at the last couple minutes, Teresa and Karen, is this amendable at this point?
I think as long as they all have separate parcel numbers, we can put it against the parcel. So if they have a separate parcel number and their name, we can charge each one of them $65 like you want to do. Yeah. And I was just double checking the couple incidents, the areas we have, just to make sure they're separate parcel numbers.
Does there have to be a structure to charge it?
Nope, because it's on developed or undeveloped land, so it doesn't have to have a structure on it.
Make up several lots.
Could be a bare lot.
Make up several lots fast.
At $65,
That's what I'm asking is, if there's a development with nothing
Goes on
there, they'll get charged. Okay.
Once those lots are platted, right, once they're basically set, yeah.
And like I said, we'll have to send a
Yeah, I just-
new spreadsheet every year to the county. We'll have to go against the roll books, and when a new lot gets developed, we have to include that in the roll, take it off the undeveloped, and we'll have to adjust this every year.
Yeah,
Right.
at $65 a month, or for the frontage, it's $5.42 a month.
Okay, so we have a motion on the table to amend it as, or to approve it as is. I would just as soon not see a substitute motion on something like this. I would just, if there's interest in a substitute motion, I would rather see you vote this down and make a separate motion.
Okay, so you want me
If
to
that's,
amend?
if that's what this council is looking for.
So
If
you'd
you
rather
want,
not see a substitute, you'd rather see an amendment.
So,
Understanding you correctly?
I finally scrolled through it far enough to the point where, the properties that here's an example. 202, Bernadine Place, 204
They're all
Bernadine
separate
Place.
parcels.
We took $65, split it equally amongst those 4 property owners. And that's my point is, I don't believe any property owner within the city limits of Hartford should pay less than $65. And so we've taken that $65 and divided it equally amongst those property owners.
Yeah.
And my stance on this is they potentially get in a car and drive on our city streets as much as I do. And so the minimum for any property owner should be $65, not $14.52 in this case.
Okay. So Jeremy, in my understanding, you'd rather not see a substitute, but if you want me to amend, you prefer that,
I prefer that.
okay? All right, so,
Do we have to
Did we
vote
get a
on the motion
second?
on the table though?
no, wait, I can amend it, and then we can vote on both, okay? Because we already have a second, is that correct? I'll make sure I got this correct, okay,
We'll
so,
second it again.
huh?
We'll second it again.
Yeah. Okay, I will amend my motion to resolution 2019-8 to, correct my verbiage, I saw Larry out there somewhere. Parcel out, is this right so far, Travis, help me out? Residents who live in,
Scott, I'm gonna save you a lot of heartache. So we've got a motion, we got a second, we vote on it.
just turn it down,
Or we just vote on it.
Start a new one.
And-
Start a new one?
and then
That's fine.
it might be cleaner.
As long as you let me make the motion to do that, because I don't wanna
Sure.
make a motion and then all of a sudden turn myself down.
Yeah. I think it might just clean it all up.
You're right, okay, I call a vote.
Let's vote. Brennan? No. Jones?
No.
Keel?
No.
Clancy?
No.
And Nelson?
No.
Okay.
Motion to alter resolution 2019-8 to parcel out, you wanna say multifamily housing here?
That's a real good question. How do you word that?
That's worded that every parcel has a minimum of
$65.
65.
So every
That's
parcel
easy.
has a minimum of
Just go by the parcel
$65
then, so yes.
per
That's what I would have done.
frontage
Per parcel, per parcel.
per parcel, but I wanna make sure that I also, reiterate the fact that said homeowners, okay, I'm gonna use the homeowners, because they are homeowners, if they're in a twin, they're not renting it, they're buying it, right?
I think it's just cleaner is that every parcel gets a minimum of $65 a linear foot.
Period.
Or a minimum charge of $65 period.
But I wanna make sure that it does not,
Because you can have one person owning a twin home both sides.
I understand that,
Yeah.
but I just wanna make sure that it's not convoluted with rental scenario property, so.
But what-
It's not, because they're only on
Every
here with one
parcel is gonna
address.
have one property owner.
Okay.
It comes down to addresses, Scott.
Well, I understand, but I just wanna make sure also, Arden, that this does not include an apartment complex where the apartment dweller does not own the property, okay? Understand what I'm saying?
Correct, they're not on this list.
Okay, and then that's, and if I don't need to reiterate it, that's fine.
Right.
Okay, fine,
All we need to do is that every parcel gets a minimum of $65.
that's fine, then there you go. Karen, I'm gonna ask you to read that back.
That every parcel has a minimum of $65.
Second. Second.
Just so it's clear, that motion was to approve this resolution with the amendment that every parcel has a minimum of $65.
There we go.
Correct? Okay.
And
So
so,
we have a second.
correct, we have a second. And so, again, as you alluded to, Scott, if I'm said property owner on a fixed income, what's going on council? It's how much per month?
Yeah. Who's going to Italy?
It's how much per month?
It is $5.
$5.41.
It rounds up to 40.
Less than a happy man. Less than a happy man per month,
Yes,
per street.
yeah.
Alright, and
Got a motion and a second. Do we have any,
a huge groundswell of support for this motion.
do we have anybody from the crowd that'd like to speak on this before we vote? Okay,
I got one quick question.
come on up.
Okay, come up, Doug.
I understand what you're doing, Don Sebring, I'm developing that plan. I understand what you're doing, but you've got four plexes that have got one owner. They're gonna pay on their frontage, could be 90 feet. So you've got four of them on 90 feet. So where if you owned each fourplex, you'd have $240 coming off that.
It's per parcel, right?
Per parcel.
So-
Right,
so per
per
parcel. So
parcel.
if I own four, I'm gonna pay 65 on each of them.
But you've got one parcel on a fourplex, right?
Not if I have a legal inscription on each one of those. That's parceled out because I plan on selling
Or
all
they-
four,
But what if you don't plan on selling them, you plan on renting?
then I'm gonna pay the frontage on them.
So you could have
a
90
minimum
foot.
of $65.
Right.
So these guys are getting by a lot cheaper now.
If you maintain ownership of said parcels for this example, your minimum, well, it's 90 feet, don't you just say? Yeah, you're gonna pay $90. Versus if
Per
you
year.
sold those
Per year.
parcels and there's four parcels in 90 feet, each property owner would of 65.
So the guy that owns them and rents them out is getting by a lot cheaper than the guy.
Correct.
Correct.
That guy, in this example, it would be getting by cheaper than
And there is quite a few of
if
them.
four,
south
if
side
four
of town.
property owners
Right.
own each portion thereof. Correct.
But I also understand that they don't get owner occupied. If they own an apartment house, they're on a different rate than an owner occupied house. I would assume, correct? Is that correct? Tax wise.
Yeah.
Tax
Yes,
wise.
yeah.
So
But
they're
do you
paid.
see any more of that in your street or in your coming to you?
Right, I'm just saying that they're getting hooked on the other side, maybe.
Right.
But
Where they pay higher multiplier.
something, right,
Yeah,
right.
I just thought of that city.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Thank you.
Good point.
Good point, Doug.
Thank you.
All right, any further discussion?
Well, there was a lot of comments, as we know, on this, on Facebook, and I did a lot of research, and I really wish there would have been some people here to talk about this, because I really hoped all week that somebody was gonna call me, because I had done my research. I wanted to really have a conversation with some of our residents. So,
Thank you.
nobody called me. I was hoping that they would. If they looked at their tax bill and looked at what happened this last year with a school opt-out and a county opt-out that we had nothing to say for on the county. If you take those two pieces of information out, guess what my taxes did? They were lower if those two opt-outs wouldn't have been in. And I really wanted to have somebody here so we could talk about that. Because I don't like it that our residents aren't paying attention. I'm sorry, that bugs me.
It's 12 of them, Mark.
I understand that, but that's why I'm not on Facebook. There you go, that's it. That's all I'm gonna say.
All right, with that, we're gonna vote. Jones,
Yes.
Brenneman,
Yeah.
Keel,
Yes.
Lanzer,
Yes.
and Nelson.
Yes.
All right, we'll move on. We've got a bunch of second readings. We got the first one up is second reading of 673, which is disease vegetation.
Make a motion to approve second reading of ordinance 673.
Second, and yes, if I'm called for the vote, I will be back in time.
A motion and a second. Now, any discussion? All right. Keel?
Yes.
Lanzer?
Yes.
Brenneman?
Yeah.
And Jones?
Yes.
Okay. And 674. Duty to remove.
I'd make a motion to approve second reading of ordinance 674.
I'll second that.
Discussion. Vote. Jones?
Yes.
Brenneman?
Yeah.
Keel?
Yes.
And Gladstone?
Yes.
Congratulations, first motion.
675. Prohibited parking on Richmond Road. This was an amended ordinance.
I'd make a motion to approve second reading of ordinance 675.
We have a second.
Second.
Discussion. Questions? Okay. We'll vote. Lanzer? Keel?
Yes.
Brenneman?
Yeah.
And Jones?
Yes.
Alright.
And Nelson,
76.
yes.
Prohibited burning.
You heard the
I'd
whole
make
thing.
a motion to approve ordinance 670, second reading of ordinance 676.
Second. Discussion? Vote. Brenneman?
Yeah.
Keel?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Lanzer? And Nelson?
Yes.
And 677, amended zoning regulations.
Motion to approve ordinance 677 as presented. Second.
Discussion. Nelson?
Yes.
Lanzer?
Yes.
Keel?
Yes.
Brenneman?
Yeah.
And Jones?
Yep.
Alright. Fire department report. Chief Schumacher. Guys had a busy couple of weeks.
A little bit. Good evening, Mayor, councilors. I've been a little bit since I've talked to you. Apologize for not being here last month. Work took me out of town here. Kind of recapping June. June, we had a busy month, 34 total calls in June, 12 of them in the city. July, we had 27 total calls, 9 of them in the city. So overall, year to date, where we're pacing, it looks like we're pacing about 14% increase in call volume over prior year. So we'll see if that trend continues. Training-wise, we've trained on EMS side, endocrine emergencies, provider hygiene, and vaccinations. Fire side, structural search and rescue in June. July, EMS, special healthcare needs and pain management. Fire side, hose deployment, hose advancement. We also had some firefighters attend State Fire School back in June. I think there was 8 people that attended. Those 8 people got about 20 hours of class time, each of them out there. Coming up, we have a kind of a community open house this Saturday from 11 to 2 down in front of the fire station. We not only have our trucks out there, our station open, available to the public. I believe we're going to have some participation from law enforcement, Sanford Helicopter, a few other entities out there, and really want to open it up to the citizens of Hartford, show them who we are and some of the other entities that help serve Hartford here.
Brian, I'm gonna stop there. I commend you for that. And what was your motivation, if you don't mind me asking, for, you know, the Chamber of Commerce had done community information night. Why did you take on that challenge?
Well, 2 reasons. In the past, this time of year, we've held the street dance. We've had people there, been an awful lot of work, awful lot of man hours in there, not much for net income. So we really made the decision, is it worth our people's time to go through that, or do we want my staff participating in training, participating in calls? That was a choice we made. We still wanted to be out in the public, that public outreach. You know, we have the pancake feed earlier in the year, but this would be good for late summer. It would be fire prevention with the school kids in early October. So just gives us another chance to reach out in the community and maybe do a little recruiting for some additional staff.
Okay, good, thank you.
Chief, I gotta commend you. You know, we've missed you. There's even been some rumblings in the community that we've got a new fire chief. You're not the guy. Chief, I'm not sure. I haven't seen him. I don't know. Maybe that's true. So good to see you again. You know, your reports are always very thorough and generally very timely. You know, monthly. If there's any way that you could get that information to Teresa, so that she can get it in our reports. Okay. All of a sudden, we're going to have something to reference. Because we take your information and I write it down and I put it, and it ends up in my office. And I put it on this piece of paper, and it just ends up filed away. If you can get that information to Teresa by Friday, it becomes perpetual. You know, it becomes forever. And so I would encourage you to do that, because then it allows us as a council to reference that material, and it helps us take what you say and quantify it. Maybe if there's a question from the community, we don't have to guess. We can go back and reference that. So that's my only thing that I would really like to see change in your reports. Yep. And we can facilitate that. I think you guys do a great job. Obviously, you're great service to the community. I know my view from Western has improved dramatically because of you guys. There's less stuff in my way when I look west, when I'm driving on Western. So appreciate that.
And what I really want to reiterate to that, if you're getting questions on anything going on, I'm always available. Give me a call. I don't care when it is. I'll try and answer any questions you have, whether it's meeting night, if it's in between meeting nights.
And if you get that information to Teresa and you put your contact information in there, it affords us an opportunity to contact you, because currently I don't have your information.
We can take care of that.
Thank you.
That's good. Any other
You
questions?
got another item on here too.
Yes, we do.
Other questions? All right, move to your equipment replacement.
Yes, I'm also here to request $35,000 from the account we currently hold with the city that has been allocated for asset replacements. In July, we took delivery of our new EMS truck, designated Squad 5 coming in. It is a 4-door F550 chassis with a more of a rescue utility body on it. Purchased through Hyman Fire, and Rosenbauer was the supplier on that one. As we went through a bidding process, had 4 bidders involved in that process. So that was about a year-long process to get that in place. It actually officially went in service about 10 days ago, so we have it completely stocked, outfitted, and might have possibly seen it on the streets running calls over the last week here. The truck itself was a total of $148,530. As far as equipping the truck, we probably spent about $2,000 right now equipping the truck. A lot of the materials have moved over off our prior truck. It's going into more of a reserve role for the department right now.
What's on the horizon? I know since I've sat in this chair, ladder trucks and so on and so forth, pretty much have it covered? Besides for replacement of used equipment?
I would say right now, current needs, we're sitting pretty good. We got taken care of some pent up, very older vehicles that were having maintenance issues and things like that, serviceability. But we always have to be looking toward the future. You know, it's my job not to plan for tomorrow. I need to be planning 5 years out, 10 years out for the department, looking ahead. What do we need next? What's going to take the cash flow to do that? As I've told many of you in the past that have been here for a while, I don't want to show up a budget hearing saying I need $300,000 from the city. That's not fair to the city. As you guys will see, and I'll be talking to each of you before the budget hearings, we're trying to plan and manage this cash flow that we are building up. We're saving up the cash, so when we do go to purchase a new apparatus, we have the money in hand to do that, as we've had with these 2 most recent trucks. So with that, to really answer your question, Scott, you know, we have a couple older vehicles there yet. They're not near-term purchases. Our Wildland unit is 18 years old now. That ladder truck that we got, it's been several years back now to really get us started in that enterprise. That's 23 years old right now, so we of course need to be thinking to the future on potential replacements out there, because it's our job to make sure every piece of equipment is serviceable, operational, because when we need it, we can't have a question of whether it's going to be functional or not.
Motion to approve the remainder of the budgeted balance of $35,000 to the Hartford Area Fire and Rescue.
Second.
Discussion? Keel?
Yes.
Lancer?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Brennan?
Yeah.
And Jones?
Yes.
And before I get out of here, just going to give you all a heads up. I am on vacation during budget hearings next week. James Buss will be representing the department here, but I also plan on giving each of you a call individually over the next few days, kind of talk about fire department requests, and hopefully be able to answer any questions you may have as individuals.
Sounds good. Thanks, Jim.
If your voicemail is not available, I'll call you back.
All right. Thank you.
Sounds good, thanks, Chief.
Thanks, Chief.
All right, we are going to, I'm gonna move right past yours, and we're gonna go to the Chamber and Economic Development Director report. Both patiently waiting on this, so Jesse, we'll have you hop up next, and then we'll jump forward to yours, Nate.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a report for July and August. Just a few highlights that Travis touched on. We worked with the Hartford Fire Rescue to remove the trailer on Western Avenue that was burned, I believe, last Wednesday. So we're working on that for about 6 to 8 months, and I would carry, so we're pretty passionate about that, so that's why we're here in the city, and 3 years later, here we are with a trailer on Western Avenue. So, the property owner worked with the fire department to make that transaction happen, and it's been a great improvement to the area. Any questions on my report? All right, moving on to Hartford Dog Park. In your packet, I have an item that Finance from Brady helped put together, shows a quick overview of the benefits of a dog park. Over the last couple of years, it's been discussed by me and members of the council as well. I believe that this is a topic of discussion prior to my tenure here at the city. Dina Larson and the Girl Scout troop number
0087.
is looking for their.
Try that again. 50087. Is that right? 50087. All
Sounds
right.
like somebody hee-haw.
I like it. I like it.
We've been working together for the last year, on and off, about the idea of moving forward with a dog park. And next year, the Girl Scout troop is looking for, was it Gold Star project? This fall, excuse me, I misspeak.
Gold award.
You just want to stand up here with me, if you want, you can hold them up and see, because you're not going to answer my question tonight about this. And so anyways, there's a number of interested people in this. Hartford has, you walk around, everybody has a dog, it seems. And this could be a really great way for us to be more of a competitive community. Also, we have a group of people that want to make this project happen. And so, if you want to add to that, you sure can.
I was gonna say, we did have a committee formed, and we're looking at land options within the city and kind of burned through a few of those, have some that would be better options now. These two girls are interested in pursuing their gold award. Those are separate projects, so they'd have to look at this as two projects in one and separate it out. But I guess basically today just wanna know the council's interest in moving forward with something like this. Obviously, we don't wanna get too far down the road and then find out after the girls have spent 2 years on this that nobody in the city really wants a dog park.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's very wise of you.
Yes. Well, I'll chime up first. 3 years ago, I asked council to, actually it was more of an announcement to apply for a dog park grant. It was a nationwide grant, we did not get it. I can speak from my daughter's behalf, who now lives in Watertown, in the lake area, and she utilizes the dog park, and I asked her this just last night, every other day. It's a huge quality of life thing that I feel sets us apart from a lot of things. Now, I would like to ask parcel of land, you touched on that briefly. I have my mindset that that's not necessarily what should be right. Can you lean us towards the direction where you might be looking? Sorry, I had to go there.
And that's why we're here today, because we want to see what your thoughts are on this. There's a lot of different options out there. Nothing's perfect, and so we want to see what your thoughts are. This is one, a viable process, and two, if it is in your minds, you work for city staff to maybe scout a few options for your consideration, versus coming with one that we might think is perfect, because there really isn't a perfect spot.
Right, I'm gonna chime up again then, if you don't mind, guys. And I've said this before, and you've heard it before. What?
I'm a gal.
You got me, just like Jessica, really.
I like this new gal.
Hit me right there. I apologize.
Second stuff and
Ladies and gentlemen.
calling senior members on the carpet.
That's good, no, I appreciate it. You're right, you're totally right.
All right, go ahead, Scott.
Is that, Craig, I'm gonna direct this towards you. Earlier in the year, if not last year, we kind of, turned we have a tennis court again and stuff, and, so, Travis, you wanted something to add?
I'm just chuckling at Craig.
Okay.
He's thoroughly engaged.
we have a city ordinance that does not allow dogs in park, okay? But I'm saying that ahead of time because how much use has the current concrete pad, which used to be a basketball court / whatever, got use this year, in your opinion?
We had this discussion just the other day, and I haven't seen anybody. Teresa said she's seen one person.
I've seen one.
Well, to be fair, that tennis court needs to be completely redone, it's almost unusable in its current
So,
state.
so that is not an option in your
I
opinion?
don't think you'd wanna have a dog park on concrete, just
Yeah,
because,
dog park
because of the mess, you wouldn't have water to
Yeah,
wash it
grass.
clean or anything like
Sorry.
that.
By the way,
Yeah.
okay,
Some grass and
no,
water.
I disagree with you, Mark, that's fine.
Alright, so I think the main question is, let's get down to that. Do you see any problems with a dog park in town
If it's put together right, I don't see a problem with it, no. I mean, it's a matter of, find the right location, make sure the neighbors are okay with it, because I haven't seen a dog park where dogs don't bark. You'd want it fenced, of course.
Say that 5 times fast.
So, I mean, it's been looked at, numerous times. I think the biggest struggle is to find the right spot for it. And from what we looked into before, typically you don't just need one dog park, you need two, basically. You need one for your smaller dogs and one for your larger dogs, or somebody's dog's gonna get destroyed. And so, I mean, you need to have a big enough area that you can house, basically have two of them together, one fence down the center to keep them separate. There's quite a bit to it, I mean, which I'm sure they'll look into that, as far as, if we find the right spot for it, I don't see an issue with it, I would rather see them using a dog park than bringing them out to the sports complex and stuff like that.
That happens now.
I think the main question tonight then is, as they go through, we're not gonna see every detail tonight, but as they go through and we start to see details in general, is the council in support of it? And I definitely say that I am, but.
We talked about the land down here by the creek on Main, but that's in the floodplain, I don't suppose we can use that.
Floodway,
Yeah.
floodway, you can't use any structures in the
Doesn't
floodway.
matter. I mean, the ones in Sioux Falls at Spencer Park
Spencer
flood all
Park
the
is in
time.
floodplain.
But they flood all the time at that one in Spencer Park, so why would that matter if we were in the floodplain?
Clean it out for you. Our flood administrator says that there's a between floodplain and floodway. You
Okay,
can't build any permanent structures in a floodway.
what is that?
That's all a floodway.
Okay, we're not really, what is our permanent structure?
Fence. Anything that can obstruct the flow of water.
Anything that could possibly obstruct the flow of water.
Put little bigger holes.
But we're not to that point. We're not.
Right, I'm sorry, I'm off track this.
I'm gonna try to answer their question. I'm in favor of a dog park, and I will fully support it. Location will be key, but I would love to see one. So,
I don't know what percentage of dog owners we have in Hartford, but I think it's
Pretty high.
50.
According to our license, we've got, what, 10?
10%, but
What? Just of licensed dog owners, it's only 10%.
it's probably a little higher than
That one's a
that.
little higher.
We don't have near the amount of
Very
license that
interesting.
there are dogs.
Very
Wow.
interesting.
That's
the thing is they can be
There are a lot of dogs.
very simple,
Yeah, absolutely.
okay? I mean, it doesn't have to be over the top.
I get it, there's a preferred dog park, these are the things we'd like to see in the ideal dog park, but, maybe that's not how we start, per se, so I support this as well.
It's kind of like a sports complex. You got your preferred one, and then you got what you got.
Oh, I don't. We're gonna be started, Craig.
Okay, well,
Great.
anything else?
Is there any way you want us to move forward with this, any certain action items or strategy you want us to take in this process? Want us to bring you options you might think would be a good fit? You want us to work with Craig or maybe our engineers to create options?
I think it would be, reasonable to be able to, vet some options through Craig. And as those seem feasible, bring them to the council from there. And as, if we need to get engineering involved with anything, we would at some point, but I don't know if it'll be necessary right away.
That sounds good.
Very good, thank
Sure.
you,
Sounds
we
good.
appreciate it. Girls have created a website last summer that covers every aspect of the dog park and everything, so they've done a lot of research so far. And securing the land is probably the biggest next step.
The big next step. Yep.
Typically, we have enough.
Just like you.
Yep. That might be along a bike path along Trail Creek.
But
Just saying.
I have no.
thank you.
The two biggest areas that are getting used by the dogs right now, because of the girls
Oh,
putting
yeah.
up them boxes,
Yeah.
drop boxes. The one that's just about, if you don't do it every 2 weeks, it's overfull, is one down by the bridge.
Sure.
Down by the golf.
Yep.
The other one is the one up by the pool.
Yep.
There's, every day when I'm up in the pool, there's dogs, people are walking their dogs up that area.
It's good information, thank you, Terry.
And, the other two way out, Colton Road,
Yep.
one way out,
Yep,
maybe dumped them once or twice this year.
okay,
But there's
those two.
that walk area between Turtle Creek Park and clear down by the school and stuff, I mean, the dogs in that area, and they let them run.
Sure.
And a lot of them are walking, but they let them run.
Yep, absolutely. Thanks, Terry.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, thank you. All right, Nate, we'll move to Recreation Director report.
Yeah, so I don't really have any comments necessarily on my report. If you guys have any questions, I can answer them. Otherwise, I'd move to the 2 action items. Any comments, questions? Okay.
I actually looked at your logos.
Did you? Yeah, do you want to do those first or second? I guess
Doesn't matter.
the conference is on there first.
Oh, okay, let's do that first.
Yeah, so anyways, I'm interested in going to the South Dakota Parks and Rec Association conference. I think it'd be good for development as well as networking, kind of learning, what different people in my role are doing. I've had conversations with people in the area, and pretty much everybody I've talked to for the different Parks and Recs people have said, come to this conference, this will be good for you. You'll get to meet different professionals in your field, and I think it'd just be good for development. It's in Rapid City this year. So it was a little bit of a trek, and it'll take me out of the office for a few days. But I think the experience could be invaluable with meeting other people in the community, or in South Dakota, in other communities with similar jobs, as well as taking in some speeches, as well as just that social aspect and learning from people who are senior to me would be very helpful in this new position. So I'd appreciate it if you guys would be able to approve for me to go to that with coverage of costs.
Okay, we have a motion. Hearing none at this point. Okay, let's move to
Okay.
logos.
Yeah, so I had Megan put some new logos together. I gave you all 7 options. She sent me in the packet. Some are similar to each other. It's basically like 4 different ones, but then kind of different color schemes throughout. Personally, I think these are better than the last round or batch I had. Interested in seeing what your guys' input is. And personally, my favorite one would be like the second one from the top, in the kind of the white figures in the blue circle. But kind of just any inputs or feedback if we're in the right direction, if there's aspects you like or don't like. I guess let me know where we are at on this and moving forward.
I like number 4.
Yeah. Come on. All right. Yeah.
And as the second choice, I kind of like number 7. That's 4. Right here, I'll start from the beginning. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
Yeah, no problem.
7. I like 4. And 7. The 2 that I like the best.
And they certainly, you can say, I want a figure with a bat instead of a tree or et cetera. Kind of swap things
3 or
out.
4, either one. This is different colors.
Was there did the Hartford Area Sports and Rec recommend one in particular?
We kind of, well, they haven't seen these yet because I got them after the meeting. We kind of talked about that it's a city logo as opposed to the Sports and Rec logo. so we didn't believe, and they didn't feel they needed to be involved in the process.
Yeah, personally, I was drawn as also to 3 or 4.
Yep.
On there, that's rolled through them, but.
Local affordable font.
Yeah, and to me, honestly, any versions of these I'd be comfortable with. So I'm at the point where I kind of need to move forward here. I want something that I'm happy with, but I'm happy with any of these options, and I'd be excited to be able to kind of brand and move forward.
I personally like number 1, and I'm just thinking if you're wanting these for like shirts or printing or
Mhm.
anything like that, you're only looking at 2 colors, whereas I think your other ones, you're looking at multiple colors, and then you have to try to put those on, say, a different, if you're not gonna do white. Oh my goodness, I think we learned our lesson the hard way through the different chamber ones.
Certainly, yeah.
So I guess for me, I just think it's a, number 1 is just clean, and just a very modern, sleek look. I guess that's just my personal.
We were talking about number 1 too, because the other ones look kind of like a patch.
Yeah, as opposed to
Somebody should
this
put
one
on
go
your shoulder
anywhere.
or something like that.
And
Yeah.
like
That's-
rolling.
Yeah, valid point, I can see that. Yeah.
I would agree with that too. I'll save us some money on t-shirt printing.
Pretty all inclusive.
Yeah, we tried to be.
Without being all inclusive.
Alright, do we have any motions to move forward?
He's been asking about these for a long time.
I move that,
Yeah.
I move that we, approve local number 1 as the Hartford area recreation logo.
I'll second it.
Discussion? Nelson?
Yeah.
Clancy?
Yes.
Keel?
Yes.
Brenneman?
Yeah.
Jones?
I'm gonna say no because I can't. I'm glad you started on the other end.
Alright, any other questions for Nate or anything else you want to add?
All
Okay,
right, move forward with that. Thank you.
thank you very much. Okay, alright, we're gonna move on to Mitch, the city engineer report.
Thank you, Mayor, Council, Brittany, welcome to the council.
Thank you.
I have just to bring you up to speed, we always have a report with all our packets, just talking about the projects that we have ongoing that we're working on, so that's what you see in your packet there. We have 2 ongoing projects that are under construction, being the Vanmark Avenue project and the Nicholson project. We have 2 pay apps, or a pay app for each of those projects that we have on the agenda tonight. If you have questions, Brittany, at all about the projects on here, you can call me. I can bring it to speed at another time. But beyond that, I don't know if anybody has any questions on the report. We can go to the action items if you want to.
What do we have left of Nicholson?
Nicholson is substantially complete, so they've got it all paved, it's all striped. They're finishing up topsoil work and they seeded now and have some erosion control mat down. So with that, we'll have a punch list of items, little things that they'll have to finish up. But I believe we have a ribbon cutting scheduled for Friday afternoon, 4 p.m. So we have that set up and
Party at Joe.
yeah, already at Arden, so
Yeah.
it's complete. We'll do our inspections, final inspections with those, and then follow up with just a list of items that might have to get touched up, and then we'll follow up with probably final payment after that.
And your prognostication of August 15th came true. Well done. Arden was talking about you in the last meeting, and
Yeah.
we didn't believe it. And well done.
I don't know that I would have believed it. Because it was,
None of us did until it happened.
they really made it happen, so.
Yeah.
I think they seeded today. I seen the seeder with the tractor on a truck leaving.
Yeah.
And my way, so I think they seeded today.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. Not that I'm watching.
And Vandermark's not gonna be too far behind that. Right now, they're planning on paying them towards the end of next week, I believe, so.
All the way?
Yeah.
Can't believe it.
You Me either.
Are we paving Ninth at the same time?
No, so we have plans for 9th Street to the contractor.
Yeah.
They're putting pricing to it.
Okay.
And we're talking about, I'm hoping at the next meeting, we're gonna have a change order to present to you folks, bringing that part of the project into the current project. The way that's probably heading is we'll probably get the utilities done this year, probably the earthwork and the gravel, and then have to come back next year and have them do the concrete work and the asphalt work. It's kind of how that's shaping up right now.
Do we have motions for that?
I'd make a motion to approve pay application 4 for Vandemark, since that was the first one.
Second.
Discussion?
I've been informed that it's not the longest cul-de-sac in Hartford because it doesn't have a bulb, which I guess would make it the longest spur in Hartford. Or, as some people say, it's the longest dead end.
Wow.
All right.
Anything on pay application 4? Now we'll vote. Nelson?
Yes.
Lanzer?
Yes.
Keel?
Yes.
Brenneman?
Yeah.
And Jones?
Yes, he sounds an awful like I did a few years ago.
Yeah.
That's kind of reminiscent.
And then we have pay out for Mickelson Road as well.
Motion approved. Application number 12.
Second.
Jones?
Yes.
Brenneman?
Yeah.
Keel?
Yes.
Lanzer?
Yes.
Yeah, the only other thing I wanted to point out is the sports complex, they've been up there, received that, so keep an eye on that, making sure that's coming along, so. I know there was a little bit of discussion at the last meeting, I wasn't there. I don't know if there's any questions on that project.
You're lucky you weren't at the last one.
Yeah.
They may have played into your favor.
Yeah.
Went from approving the pay request, we had a good catch, to, oh, that's crap. We gotta burn it off and
Right.
restart.
Planning, seeding this late, what's your thoughts?
This is the right time to be seeding.
Okay.
Yeah, the seed windows usually open up mid-August through
Okay.
mid-September.
I know, but we already had a good catch.
Try to get it on public.
Well,
record.
this summer's been way different than most years. I mean, they've been able to seed throughout the summer. They think they had a bad batch of seed because we had another project in Sioux Falls that they used the same seed on, same thing. So
Boy, that was a mess up there.
yeah,
I went up there, that was a mess.
yeah.
We're thankful there's not a room full of angry soccer moms.
Yeah, it's
Not gonna lie.
Alright, anything else for Mitch?
Mitch did mention ribbon cutting is 4 o'clock and the freshmen said the 508 then.
Make sure you
So we'll have to make sure
RSVP.
it's posted.
Yeah, make sure you RSVP, my wife's looking for a number.
And we may want to post that as a
Post it
meeting.
as a public meeting.
You want
Look at Teresa.
Nelson.
Nelson's going, that's a great idea. Yeah, probably do that. Teresa's
Summer
just
hours.
shaking her head the other way.
Yeah.
Alright, we'll move to Craig.
I guess there's nothing new in my report. Turtle Creek renaming, there was half a dozen people there. So thank goodness DOT brought 4. So, pretty small crowd. I was glad to see Teresa show up, so. But it went pretty well. I mean, I think it's just a matter of time now. They gotta go, they're not sure if they have to go to the legislature or go to the national board first. They're gonna look at that. And she was hoping to have an answer here by the end of the month, I think it was. So, but I mean, that's just which way they gotta go. They're not even sure themselves, so, it just, like I said, it could be 6 months before we even get an answer back on that. Otherwise, I have nothing else to report, unless anybody has anything for me.
How many of our mosquito applications do you have left in this bucket? She sprayed last night.
I mean, we'll probably spray them once a week, if not more sometimes. I mean, depends on what what the counts are, you know.
Okay.
We've got enough spray to make it through.
Yep.
We'll be close, let's work that way. I think we've got a little bit left in our budget, so we should be okay.
The only thing I have for you is, it's for you and for Mitch. And I don't know if the contract is written such that when we're doing a street project, that the improved roads abutting said project get maintained weekly. And when I say maintained, I mean swept or maybe street swept, or whatever the case might be. I will say that that is the only complaint I've consistently heard is traffic coming off of Vandermark drags that debris all the way down Vandermark. And I get it that some of those homeowners on Vandermark are parking on Party, and the ability to clean that street is limited because of that. But it is not done consistently. And it's not even done when convenient. It's not done.
Yeah, we were disappointed in their performance that
Yeah,
day
so-
too.
I don't know how our contract is worded,
Yeah.
but if it's worded such that they're supposed to do that on a regular basis, I'd be looking for a change order or I'd be looking for some money back.
Yeah,
Because
it ain't happening, and it is worded just that way, that they on a regular basis, they maintain and sweep the streets, and they just didn't perform.
It's great, probably, if you have curb and gutter and it ends up in the city storm sewer, but if it ends up in my front lawn, and my neighbor's front lawn, you get some unhappy people.
Will you have that discussion with them, Mitch, at some point?
Oh, sure, yeah, we had, I mean, you came to that meeting the other time, we discussed just that
Yeah,
too.
I don't think they even know.
I've seen those sweepers, they look like they just drug them out of the grove somewhere,
Yeah.
but even if that thing hit the street weekly, we wouldn't be having this discussion.
Yeah, and again, we bring it up every meeting, we do talk to them, and on future projects, we can look at doing, on this one, we don't have any way to deduct that off the contract.
Yeah.
We could sure look at that on future
Yeah,
projects.
yeah.
It's a line item.
It's, I would say that's the only black eye project, other than, I would say that's the biggest black eye.
If you can specify that they shall do it on a schedule.
Yeah, the contract basically says they shall perform it on a regular basis, keep it assigned.
Well, yeah, interpret that to me.
We could almost put it in as a line item where
Yeah.
they'd put
I
it down.
mean, you
and
tell
if they
them
didn't do
every
it,
Monday,
that
you
could-
shall
Yeah,
clean the streets.
yeah. Most projects we have, we don't have that issue, they usually do it every Friday.
Yeah,
The
so
Friday is when they
If you
usually
do that every
have
Friday,
it.
you want to allow the property owners to look at it for 2 days.
Yeah,
That's the problem.
yeah. Like I said, usually we don't have this much trouble on this.
Yeah, fair enough.
This job.
That's the only black eye I would say on that project.
Yeah, I'll pass that along.
Anything else?
Hey Craig, I see you have on your St. Jordan lift station that you got in there and cleaned.
Yep.
It says there's 6 inches of water sitting on the concrete, nowhere to go. Did you look at that culvert?
Yes, I did.
What's the deal there?
There's a little bit of settlement on the backside. It's running through there, but there's maybe 4 inches to maybe 6 inches of water sitting in that was kind of running through. It's not that's holding it up. It's just all the cattails and all
Okay.
the debris in there, so.
Yeah.
Because we dug it out, we've got about that much on the end that, tapers back, because that concrete there's pretty flat, so it fills in pretty quick. But
Right.
that whole drainage area is fairly flat, it just
Right.
settled in, so. Yeah, we went back, we found our property pins, and we went right to our pins, and cleaned it up, everything out of there. Actually got in there with a push mower and mow it, so.
Okay.
Just for the record, the city has improved their property, and the adjoining property owners have not done anything with their property. For the record.
There's a lot of grass clippings from people mowing.
Yep.
Don't wanna bring them down to the dump site that's free, they just throw them over the fence and stuff like that, and that doesn't help it one bit either, so.
Behind
Fair enough.
Save Troy there a little bit.
Okay.
All right, thanks, Greg.
The only other thing I got is, the annual, South Dakota Water and Wastewater Conference coming up September 10th through the 13th in Pierre. I'd like to have myself and Neil attend that. We both do need training hours, so.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
That's all I got, thanks.
Thanks, Greg.
Karen, your report, anything you'd like to add from what's been done?
No, I don't have anything unless someone has questions for me.
The budget coming together?
Done some today, we're getting there.
Hoping by the end of the week, right? Okay. Sounds good. Got anything? Okay, we'll move to Teresa's report.
Nothing really to add, just reminders, we have our budget Monday, 6:30 here, budget meeting. You'll have a packet on Friday, just like you normally do before a council meeting, so that'll be in your box as a packet for the budget. If you go through it, have any questions at all, just give me your Karen a call, or, let us know for the meeting. Also, you will have, so then on Tuesday, after that, is the joint meeting with the county for joint jurisdiction. That's 9 AM, and I need Mark says he can't make it, he was our fourth for the quorum, but I think Brittany can replace him if that still works, hopefully, so. Because we know you're gone, Arden, so.
Let's keep pointing that
Brennan
out.
and Travis, Brittany and Scott to get our quorum there, so.
What day is that?
Tuesday, 9 AM, and it's at the county courthouse.
27th, right?
Yes.
It's coming Tuesday. Week from today.
Oh, no, it's at the courthouse.
Oh.
I was coming here, so I
Oh,
don't really.
good thing we mentioned, sorry, I didn't put that in my
Call you and wake
text.
you up from your nap.
Yes, it's at the county administration
Tuesday
building,
the 27th?
Yeah.
Okay.
on the second floor,
9 o'clock.
so 9 o'clock.
Yeah. Thanks for calling.
So, we need to have everybody, but Arden, like I said, be there, so we have our quorum for that, so. Just a reminder of that, so you'll have a packet I'll put together. You'll need to pass a resolution for joint jurisdiction, I'll have that resolution in the packet, and then I provided a staff report, just kind of our request and why we're requesting it to the county. I'll have a copy of that for you guys also to review, and then a copy of our comp plan, because essentially that's what you're approving, even though we approved it when it was enacted, but you have to approve it jointly now together, so you'll have that packet as well, this Friday, so you'll have the county, the one for the county meeting, the one for the budget meeting come out. And then just kind of FYI for you, Brittany, every year the city does sidewalk inspections. We do it by ward, so we alternate, we do one ward one year, another ward the next year. And basically we go around and look at the sidewalks and we see any defects in them, whether they've got, cracks in them or raised panels or whatever. We send out letters to notify the property owners that according to state law, they are responsible for that. We don't make them fix them, but we're just alerting them to let them know that you do have a defect and you could be liable. So in case you get any phone calls from any neighbors, those went out about a week ago, so. Otherwise, I don't have anything else at this time.
Okay. Thank you, Teresa. Alright, with that, we'll move over to new business. We're gonna approve the 2019 budget request for the Humboldt Fire and Ambulance Service, $15,000.
And this is
This is
to
already
pay,
budgeted.
this is to pay out of this year's budget, yes, that we have sitting there.
I'll move to approve the request for the Humboldt ambulance for $15,000 to be released.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We also have the senior center for $9,000.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Next is to review and approve the 2018 audit.
Motion to approve the audit as presented.
Second.
Discussion.
I see the only thing the question is on is not having two people or something I seen at the end.
We get that, the only thing we usually get, we get it every year, is that not having a segregation of duties. And
Yeah.
all towns our size or smaller, it's,
Yeah.
you know, unless we have a staff of 10, you know, we only have one person that does the finances. We try to, you know, they wanna see just somebody doing the payable, just somebody doing the receivable, just somebody doing, you know, they wanna see that. We don't have a big enough staff for it, and every city our size gets that. We try to put in the checks and balances, which they do like, that even though she enters all the financials, whatnot, I do all the bank reconciliations, so that is kind of our checks and balance there in it too. And same way when Rhonda gets all the water receipts and payments, they all gotta go through Karen too, and she double checks her work, so we try to put what checks and balances we can in place. We just don't have a large enough staff to separate everything.
Yep.
Okay, got a motion and a second? We'll vote. Jones?
Yes.
Brenneman?
Yeah.
Keel?
Yes.
And Nelson.
Yes.
Alright, the last item up, and I don't believe we have anybody here to represent it. Is
I
that-
don't, and I don't know if you want to table this. Mark Monahan asked for this to be put on the agenda because he was approached by Sandy Dean about a donation the city received back in 2007. He wanted to have some discussion on it. Yeah, Sandy's not here, Mark's not here, so
I think tonight's the best night for that discussion.
like I said, I don't know if it's the best time for the discussion, you know. I just put in the packet the information Sandy gave me, so.
Move the table is to the first meeting in October.
Second.
No discussion on the table. We'll vote. Jones?
Yes.
Brenneman?
Yeah.
Keel?
Yes.
Lanzer?
Yes.
And Nelson.
Yes.
Okay. Alright, next up, got a visitor section, we got Ryan Matthews, discuss the abatement property at 801 Southwestern Avenue, so. Is there a certain way you'd like to start, is there what you'd like to do, or will let Brian come up and talk about something?
I just want to point out that I did kind of put together the timeline of what started this process and kind of be very beneficial to Brittany. The rest of the council kind of knows the steps we've taken through this, but I have that information in the box for you, and I gave you a paper copy, Scott. But Brian is here. He would like to talk to the council. You know, we're moving ahead with abating the nuisance at his property, but he would like to ask to talk with the council about possibly a plan he wants to put in place and working with the city to clean it up. So I guess I'll let Brian kind of discuss what he plans to do and with you guys and from there.
Brian, let me come up to the podium here, just so everybody can hear, and we've got everything on.
Well, what I want to do is put a fence up, and I need permit to put a fence up, I guess. I've been here a long time. I mean, before anything else is out there, I definitely don't want the place to look like it does now. But it's gonna take me some time to clean it up, and I have some water issues from my neighbors that just ain't under control. And I'd like to see that taken care of too. I mean, you know, I planted 100 trees up there. I don't think anybody in that area has planted 100 trees. And everybody that has built around me has raised their property up. I have no problem with that. They start running their water onto me or blocking me. I mean, I already gonna have issues to the north of me. They already got a pile of dirt over there that's, you know, twice as high as me. You know, you know, like I say, I want to put a fence up. I want to get it contained.
Take a motion to adjourn?
Oh, shoot, I don't have that ready.
Oh,
You can second.
Make a motion to end the meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Alright, thank you.
Meeting adjourned.
Adjourn the meeting.
So-
We're gonna professional.
Sorry, Jeremy, that wasn't very professional.
No, that's okay, that's okay.